I'm working on a garter stitch slip stitch blanket from Purl Soho. So this one actually is, every stitch is knit or slipped, so none of the stitches are going to be seated differently. How a stitch is seated based on the front leg and the back leg, which is, this is the front leg and this is the back leg, is based on how you worked the previous row. So if you are a combination knitter or you wrap your purls this way, then you're going to end up with stitches that are seated a bit differently. And sometimes if you frog a few stitches and put them back on your needle, you may have noticed they've gone on backwards or kind of twisted. So, whoops, I'm about to lose one here. Oh no. So what happens is, oh dear. Well, let me fix this stitch and I'll tell you. There we go. I think I've caught a little bit of, no, there it is. Okay. So what happens is you actually end up with your stitches kind of facing a different way. Oh goodness, have I made a giant mess of this or what? Okay, so let me just fix that guy. So this is actually a good example. Sometimes when you're dropping down to fix something, you end up with stitches that are facing different ways. So if you look at these two stitches, you can see that what I'm calling the right leg and the left leg, so the right leg is this one and the left leg is this one, that with that stitch versus the stitch next to it, this right leg is in front of this stitch, this right leg, oh yeah, get in there, this right leg is behind the stitch. So if you were working along, people say front stitch and back stitch. That can be confusing because the stitch that is first is not always in the front or the back. It's depending on how you worked the last row. So if, man, I'm having some trouble. So if I were to knit, ooh, I promise I can knit, there we go. So if I were to knit this stitch in the back, I would end up with a twisted stitch because its right leg is its front leg. So if I were to knit that, see how my stitch is now twisted? So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna knit it this way. But with this leg, if I knit into the back, that's the correct way to knit it. So I don't like to say front or back because front or back really depends on how your stitches are seated. So I like to say left and right because that makes it really clear. If you are knitting into the right side of a stitch, whether it is here or here, you will always be knitting into the correct stitch and not twisting. If you're knitting into the back, or into the left, whether it's here in the back or the left in the front, you will twist that stitch. So hopefully that clears things up. Combination knitters wrap purls the way that I showed you. So a lot of times folks will be combination knitters and not even realize that they are until they have to do an SSK or a knit two together, or they think maybe they're twisting stitches when they actually aren't because someone told them they were.